Morning everybody, how we doing today? Alright, so today I got one of my friend's cars in the garage today. Dropped it off last night. I'm doing a oil pan gasket on this car. So today I will be, in this video, I will be showing you guys the process through all that. This is a sedan, e46 rear-wheel drive. So I'm gonna kind of just go through the whole process and showing you guys everything that you should have to do. This job isn't too difficult. It's just a little time consuming. You gotta take your time and do it right. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. And yeah, I'll see you at the end. It'll be all prepared. Thank you guys very much for watching. Enjoy the video. Alright guys, so as of right now, I'm gonna be pulling off all the plastics and the intake box thing, fan, all the surrounding things that are in my way, so I can start pulling off all the things to get to the subframe. I do got my engine brace right here, but I'm not going to put that on yet so it doesn't get in my way. So let me get to this. I'll show you guys the process through there. It's all pretty simple. You got some clips here, you got these screws here, screws over here, so this should just slide right out after I'm done with that. Just buff down here, pop the filter out, and then yeah, I'll get down to drain all the oil in this car. And hopefully I don't make a mess. You know what I mean? Alright guys, so I just removed the fan, the airbox. I undid the oil filter and I am draining the oil as we speak. So from this point, I'm going to unbolt the power steering pump. So there's going to be one bolt right there, and then on the other side this bolt goes through, but you got to get it from the other side, and there's one more bolt on the bottom side that we have to get. That way because when you're lowering the subframe, that will get in the way, so then you can kind of just move it out of the way and it will also not break or anything. As well as I also removed all the belts there, so the AC compressor belt and the accessory belt. So you gotta do that to take the front subframe off. Alright, so I'm gonna get those bolts in the power steering pump and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so right now, hold on, let me get in here. Right now, this is what I gotta take off right now. So we're gonna do, some cars have this like brace right here. And other cars have that like aluminum splash guard. So I got to take these bolts off right here and all through here, and then we're gonna go take these off, take the control arm bushings off, and then I gotta undo the motor mounts up through here, motor mount over here, and then you gotta undo the zip tie because zip ties are life. And then, let's see, I gotta undo the sway bar, and then the car will be ready to have the subframe come down. So let's get all that done, and then we'll go from there. so now we're gonna do the motor mounts, where you can't get those from going right in through the control arm. I think these are 17. One thing I also wanted to mention was right here, if you look in here, the steering shaft right here, you gotta take this bolt out. It's an e46, and you just wiggle it a little bit, lift it up, and then when you drop the subframe, it will slide out. That way you can actually drop the subframe because the steering rack is gonna drop with the subframe. So you won't be able to drop it if you don't undo that. All right, guys, so now that we're ready to pull the subframe off, I have aligned my jack with the subframe. I'm gonna place a piece of wood right underneath there, and then I'm gonna undo the bolts for the subframe and then slowly drop it down. It will give us enough space to undo all the bolts for the oil pan, and then we can take the oil pan out and replace the gasket, clean it all up, and throw the new one in. All right? Alright, so I got all the bolts off for the oil pan in there. They're all off. Double check to make sure I mixed any, and then I'm just gonna pull the pan off. Usually it will get stuck because of the gasket, so you just gotta kind of give it a little pry or just tap it off. Alright guys, so I just pulled the oil pan off, and I just wash my hands real quick. So got the oil pan right there. As you can see, it's all off. I forgot that there was a bolt on the bell housing tucked right behind these oil cooler lines. It goes in right here. Now, like initially I was trying to pull it off, and I was like, why is it still stuck there? And I realized, oh, that's why. So yeah, I struggled to get, that's like the hardest bolt to get off out of this whole thing. Cause it's like this line gets in the way, so it's really hard to like kind of sneak your ratchet up in there and get it off. But other than that, looks good. Could use some Wickamolly engine flush. Get rid of all this, like try and get rid of all this staining, but overall it looks good. I'm gonna clean up the pan a little bit, and then I gotta go. I'm gonna go to the gym for a little while, for like an hour, and then I'm gonna come back and finish. So I just wanted to get to this point before I went to the gym, and that's what I did. So here we are. I'll see you guys in about an hour. It will be like this. Alright guys, so the oil pan is now prepped and ready to go. I cleaned it as best I could with my power washer, and used some engine degreaser, cleaned up the inside as well as best as possible. And then went along here with some sandpaper, went it up to like 1,000 grit, sanded this smooth because that old gasket almost like left the whole like sealer on, and it wouldn't have sealed well if I didn't do that. So now we got a good sealing mating surface on the pan. I gotta do the same thing on the block. So let's get to that. Alright guys, as you see, this is how the oil pan was, and I want to get all that cleaned up and smooth so that when I put the new gasket on, it will sit and flush and seal correctly. Alright, so that part is probably the bitchiest part to do. It's the most pain in the ass, but it should look Very similar to how this looks. Get all that old gasket off. This is all smooth, it just, that's not coming off, that's like stained, so. But yeah, I did all the way through. These pieces, so these pieces right here, the pieces that connect on the block, on that side and that side, and then right here and right up there, that's where you put the RTV so that it avoids all the extra leakage that you could have if you don't. So, all right, everybody, the new pan is on. I'm just gonna slide the dipstick tube in. All the bolts are torqued down. I just have to put the bell housing bolts back in. There's 2 of those, I believe, 3 of those, and then I'll start throwing the front subframe back on, get everything back together. But 30 minutes out, 40 minutes. All right, guys, I just got it all back together. Everything is bolted up. I just have to do a few little minor things, put the fan back on, belts back on, all little things. Tighten the drain plug, add oil, put a new oil filter in, and then the car will be done. And I'd like to add to a few things to like the assembly here. I kind of went full, like all in on like explaining how to get everything off and the process that it takes to do this oil pan gasket. It's really not that bad. I know it's dark now, but I did leave for a little while and take a break. It only took me about 4.5 hours by the time I'm like wrapped up and finished. I mean, I spent some extra time cleaning the oil pan and everything because it was so nasty, and like I cleaned a bunch of bolts that had some corrosion on them. So the little things added up, and just time that I know, you know, normal technicians probably wouldn't take the time to do things like that, or they have like, I don't know, like a parts cleaner that would do it a lot faster. So yeah, I did all that, and I got the oil pan all cleaned up, put the new gasket in, and did all that. It took me a little extra time to clean the whole surface of the oil pan and the block as well, which I don't know if a technician would actually do and do that as well, which honestly could cause this to start leaking again. I hope that there's no other issues further down the road and it lasts him quite some time with no leakage. If it does, something comes down to it, we can figure something out and I can dive back into this and see if we can repair it again. But you know how these oil pan gaskets are, they're pretty finicky, so I do just gotta zip tie that line up as well, all the little things, but every little major thing is buttoned up, and I still have to add that brace in, but that's like the last little touch. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.